Stormy night with my seductive neighbor. What really happened? I was lounging in my living room, aimlessly scrolling through my phone, when I heard the first low rumble of thunder. Glancing out the window, I saw dark clouds rolling in, swirling and ominous. Living alone, I had grown used to the solitude, even during storms. I didn't mind the crackle of thunder or the flash of lightning. But this storm felt different, heavier, more intense. I stood by the window, watching as the wind picked up, rustling the trees. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her, Sophia, my neighbor, the one I could never quite figure out. We'd exchanged polite words over the months and shared the occasional conversation by the mailbox. But there was always something about her that intrigued me. She was effortlessly charming, with an air of confidence that made you want to know her better. Sophia. Hey, do you mind coming over? This storm is making me a little uneasy. My heart skipped a beat. Of all the nights, she chose tonight? Part of me was suspicious. Had she really just asked me to come over because of the storm? Or was there more to it? I didn't overthink it. I grabbed my jacket and headed to her place just across the street. When I knocked on her door, it swung open almost immediately. There she was, standing in the doorway with a smile that could melt anyone. Sophia was dressed in a tight, off-shoulder transparent t-shirt and shorts. Her long, dark hair cascading over one shoulder, and I can see everything inside her t-shirt. She had a huge watermelon, and I can see the red cover of the watermelon. I can see her whole leg, and she recently removed all her hair, and it looked so soft my mind always tells me to touch her leg. Her house smelled faintly of vanilla and something sweet, like freshly baked cookies. "Come in," she said softly, pulling me inside before the wind could slam the door shut. I was just about to pour myself some wine. The electricity flickered, casting brief shadows across her face. The storm was intensifying. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating her living room. A cozy space with plush couches and candles flickering on the coffee table. She handed me a glass of wine and motioned for me to sit. As we settled on the couch, the sound of rain hitting the windows became louder, and the storm was no longer a distant threat. It was right above us. Sophia curled her legs beneath her and leaned in slightly, her voice soft but laced with something unspoken. "You know, I've always hated storms. They make everything feel unpredictable." I couldn't help but feel the weight of her words. There was an underlying tension between us, something that neither of us had acknowledged before but was growing by the second. I sipped the wine, trying to maintain my composure, but my thoughts were spiraling. Was this just friendly company? Or was there something more? Which one is cuter? Like for the dog and comment for the cat? As if on cue, the lights flickered one last time before plunging the room into darkness. Sophia let out a small gasp, her hand instinctively reaching for my arm, but in the darkness, she touched my main meat. Instantly, she said, "Sorry, I was finding your arm." I replied, "Actually, my arms and main meat size are the same." She laughed loudly. "Well, that's perfect," she said with a chuckle. She turned on the phone's flashlight and then she burned all the candles. So only light now came from the candles scattered around the room, casting a soft, warm glow that made the atmosphere feel even more intimate. The sound of the rain intensified, each drop pounding against the windows, and the occasional crash of thunder seemed to shake the house. Sophia sighed, standing up. "Let me grab some more candles. We'll have to make do with this cozy little setting." As she moved around the room, lighting more candles, I couldn't help but notice the way her t-shirt slipped off one shoulder, revealing smooth, sun-kissed skin. She caught me looking, and a playful smile tugged at her lips. "Comfortable?" she asked, her voice teasing. "Yeah, actually," I replied, trying to match her tone. I didn't expect to spend the night like this. Sophia paused for a moment, her eyes meeting mine, and there was something unreadable in her gaze. "Neither did I," she murmured before returning to the couch, sitting a little closer this time. The electricity wasn't coming back anytime soon, and the storm outside had created a barrier between us and the rest of the world. The wine, the darkness, the sound of the rain. It was all a recipe for something to happen, and both of us knew it. The conversation drifted from lighthearted topics to deeper, more personal ones. She shared stories about her past relationships, her travels, and her fears. I found myself opening up in a way I hadn't expected, talking about things I usually kept to myself. There was a vulnerability between us, created by the storm and the intimacy of the moment. Sophia leaned in, her arm brushing against mine. "You've never been in love, have you?" she asked, her voice soft but probing. I hesitated, then shook my head. "Not in the way you mean." She smiled, a knowing smile, as if she could see right through me. "I thought so. You've always seemed guarded." I was about to respond when the sound of thunder rumbled again, louder this time. Sophia flinched slightly, her hand finding its way to my leg. It was a small gesture, but the electricity between us was undeniable now. "I've always hated feeling alone during storms," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes searched mine, looking for something, maybe a sign, maybe permission. "In the meantime, my meat is getting harder," and I saw she noticed it. The words hung in the air for a moment, and in that silence, something shifted. Sophia's hand moved up my leg, slowly, teasingly. My breath caught in my throat, and when she leaned in closer, I didn't pull away. "She told me that you said your meat size and arm size are the same, but I think it's bigger than your arm," I said fiercely. "Yeah, it's pretty huge." And on that time, her lips hovered near mine, the space between us growing smaller with every passing second. The storm raged on outside, but inside, the tension had finally reached its breaking point. Before I could think about what was happening, Sophia's lips met mine in a slow, deliberate kiss. It was soft at first, hesitant as if testing the waters, but when I kissed her back, the hesitation melted away. Her hands moved to my chest, pulling me closer as the kiss deepened, becoming more urgent, more needy. She said in my ear, "Can I touch your third arm?" I replied, "Oh, yes," and she directly went to my short pants, and she touched it. Without breaking the kiss, Sophia guided me back onto the couch, her body pressed against mine. Her t-shirt slipped further down her shoulder, revealing more of her skin, and I found myself unable to resist the pull of her. She tasted like wine and something sweet, her lips soft and warm against mine. Her fingers trailed down my chest, teasing, testing, as she explored every inch of me. There was a hunger in her touch, a desperation that mirrored my own. I could feel my pulse quickening, my body reacting to every movement, every whisper of her touch. The storm outside was relentless, but inside, the air was thick with heat and desire. Sophia's breath was ragged, her body trembling slightly as she kissed me with a fierceness that surprised me. I responded in kind, my hands moving to the small of her back, pulling her even closer. Time seemed to slow, every second stretching out into eternity as we lost ourselves in the moment. Her skin was warm against mine, her lips insistent, and I could feel the tension that had been building between us for months finally being released. She took my hand and put it between her legs. I enjoyed it. After a few moments, she said, "Let's do it fully," and I also enjoyed it perfectly. And we both did not sleep for the whole night.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more. Things are about to get intense.